First leg, Simon to throw first.
A 6-2 win for Jonny Clayton over James Wade in his third round match, having seen off the last Danish man standing in the shape of Per Larsen yesterday. Paul Nicholson alongside me, who had the privilege of, well, the luxury, I suppose, of just sitting back and enjoying that Dobie de Sousa encounter, and now settled back into the commentary position for what should be another belter on the card.
Well, I hope so. If it's as good as the last game, then we're in for a treat. Sometimes it's really hard for me to watch Chris Dobie's matches because I'm really friendly with the lad, and I've come to really like Jose de Sousa as well. And you feel quite nervous watching games like that because you don't want to see people fail, but you just got the feeling that Jose, because of his reputation at the minute for missing match darts, that if he missed those two at the end, he wasn't going to get another chance.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, I did think that at the time, and I didn't want to dwell on that particular aspect too much at that moment in time. But looking back now, you know, 8 missed match darts in one of his encounters, 7 missed match darts earlier today, but still getting the job done. And you just felt sooner or later, you know, he'd get his fingers burnt. And in the end, it was Chris Dobie who lit the matches, I suppose. And Chris Dobie it is who goes through. But here we are, the number 13 seed, Jonny Clayton, against the number 12 seed, Simon Whitlock.
I'll tell you what, in the deck of cards that is darts, if the king of spades is Michael van Gerwen, then Jose de Sousa is probably the 39 of diamonds.
136.
Jonny Clayton is playing properly again. Let's make no mistake about that. Whitlock trying to get 619s for double top to take this first leg, but
64.
Clayton has woken up.
40.
Someone has utilised the Jonny Clayton alarm clock. Double 10, which he loves. Does he like double 7?
26.
Not right now.
Time in Uruguay 90.
That was all a bit messy.
Yeah, and I think Simon Whitlock will be very grateful indeed to at least have a crack at this 90. But it will just be one dart at bullseye.
65.
And an inch is as good as a
Jonny
mile.
14.
It is in this game. But that was
it was a millimetre.
That was magnetised to the way it was so close. Oh, he's got a mile to aim at. There he goes. Glance it on top of that. Perfectly done. And gets the approval from the woman dressed as a unicorn. Of course she is. But I'm with you, Rob. This has been a really fascinating tournament. There's a lot of the European tours sometimes not so much fade into insignificance, but sometimes the one where MVG's not here are just a little bit more open for discussion. And this one has been open since the very get-go. It's had classics, it's had really good performances, like the one from Gezi Price, and it's not even over yet. So if you're thinking about going to watch something else, think again.
Well, I made reference earlier on in this weekend to a run that Whitlock had on the European Tour, the run to the final in Riesa, where he lost to Gerwyn Price. And those two could meet again in the final here, by the way. And that weekend he didn't face any seeded players whatsoever on his way to the final. This weekend, however, it has been very different for Simon Whitlock. Now, he had Nathan Aspinall, who may not have been seeded here, but he's certainly one of the players you would have wanted to have avoided, given his world ranking right now and given everything he's achieved so far this year. And then he had Adrian Lewis, a 2-time world champion, in round 3. There's Jonny Clayton threatened something spectacular as well. Whitlock will have a look at this 161 as well.
Going a different route, as we got a glance of the Danish Whitlock in the crowd. He's even got the split beard thing going on. Must be a Whitlock fan. Some sort of doppelganger. And Jonny Clayton's looking to go 2-0 up on said wizard. Double 4. Gets there. A little bit more quality in that one.
Simon to throw first. Game on.
Well, Whitlock, having overcome Aspinall in his opener, he was asked on stage by our MC this weekend, the excellent Philip, by the way, who's making only his second appearance on the European Tour.
He's done a
very
fab
early
job.
days. Done a fantastic job, multilingual, brilliant engagement with the crowd as well. But he put it to Simon Whitlock about how it was always going to be a contrast of styles, with Aspinall being the new kid on the block, if you like. And Whitlock was really strong in his assessment of that. He said, well, He always knew he was going to be in for a real fight against Aspinall, but he says, do you know what, mate? There's still plenty of life in the old dog.
140.
That was a terrible accent, by the way.
It wasn't that bad.
I've got a bit of a cold, so it sounds like I'm not executing it quite right.
Trust me,
but
mate.
there is still plenty of life in this old dog.
If it was a bad attempt at an Aussie accent, I would say so, but it wasn't that bad, trust me. I've heard worse.
Well, he's only 50 years old, is Simon Whitlock. He celebrated the big 5-0 earlier this year.
Yeah, he reckons he's got about 10 years left in him, and I'm not going to say any different. Still willing to put in the yards, still enjoys it, still having success.
And still, as we've discussed before, paying a huge amount of attention to detail as well in his game plan, in his preparation, in the fine-tuning that he applies to his equipment and his methodology.
60.
Oh, he's a future Hall of Famer for me. Major champion, European Tour winner, multiple Pro Tour winner. I know he's looking forward to going to Australia in the summer, and there's that doppelganger who, for some reason, has an MVG shirt on. Miss from Whitlock to take the leg in 15. And Jonny can't get enough on the 19 section to give himself a shot at a double.
40.
Whitlock back for tops. No bother.
No bother at all. And that will settle Simon Whitlock down. He won't be unduly worried about having suffered an early break. He's a seasoned campaigner. He knows what to do. He's been here 1,000 times before. And he is off the mark at 2-1.
Tell you what, Rob, considering Whitlock's been hot all the way through since the inception of the Euro Tour, he can't have missed many.
No.
Because he won one of the first ones in 2012. And he was there at the very first one in Austria, 2012. There can't be many that he's missed. I'll have to look into that.
Well, I'll do that right now for you, because I have a wonderful database provided by Jacques Nulat, our Dutch MC, who's with us here this weekend, working behind the scenes.
Mr. Darts in the Netherlands. And that's not even up for debate. If I was doing a Twitter poll about that question, there would be two options, Jacques and Jacques. Oh, Whitlock absolutely spearing that into the one. It doesn't really matter because he's miles behind in this leg. And Clayton's looking to open up that two-leg gap once more. And a perfect approach to leave himself on 10s, which is the double that he clipped to get rid of Per Larsen yesterday in that game, which I'll never forget as long as I'm alive.
Double 10 for Clayton. Double 5 for the Ferrets. Slightly wayward, but that was more like it. And Clayton leads 3-1. Whitlock has played 164 matches on the European Tour. He has won 101 of them. I was aware that he'd recently celebrated that 100 milestone. And that's a win percentage of 61.5. Only Peter Wright and Michael van Gerwen have played more matches on the European Tour. And they are the only two who have won more matches on the European Tour as well.
Very impressive indeed.
And in terms of tournaments participated in, he is currently tied for 4th with Michael van Gerwen on 65, behind King, Wright, and the leader Ian White. Ian White has participated in 72 European Tour events. Peter Wright, 71. Thank you, Jacques Nulat.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. And one of the reasons why MVG is probably not top of that list is because he doesn't play in all of them through choice. If it was up to Simon Whitlock, he would play them all, but earlier this year he made a bit of an error. He decided to go to a tournament over in the Far East as opposed to playing on the Euro Tour. What a mistake to make. Actually cost him his seeding for a couple of tournaments, which he didn't qualify for, and then he made the final of a Euro Tour event anyway, and then got his seeding back. Might as well call him Mr. Yo-Yo. Jonny Clayton only needs one treble here. He's got it. He might have another. Banks a single for Bull.
105. Simon Yo-Yo, 120.
Does Whitlock need to get this, Rob, do you think?
Yes.
Can't go 4-1 down against a ferret. Didn't think I'd say that in my life. He's got to create the angle for the tops. There's more room to the right. Oh, it wasn't far away, that, you know. And the agony and the anguish for Pazzo. Clayton to punish. 2-8. Punishes. The first one wasn't close, but it gave him enough of a gauge to get that second one in 8. And he is 4-1 to the good.
Well, we talked about the bullets that Ian White has dodged recently on the Euro Tour. If Jonny Clayton does go all the way in this tournament, he may well look back at that missed start by Per Larsen in his second round match. Far more comfortable against James Wade, 6-2 in the third round earlier today. Culminating in that stunning 1-4-6 checkout for a 12-dart break in the 8th, and as it turned out, the final leg.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that performance for JC against Wade, he was supreme. There's not many people can do that to James Wade. I think James will improve in the next 10 days. A little bit of ring rust maybe after 3 weeks off. And come Prague, I think he will be a big threat. But the way that JC's going about his business, who's to say he's not going to possibly have a rematch of his Graz final with his compatriot, Gezi Price.
There's all sorts of permutations about, you know, friends being reunited. We talk about Jonny Clayton and Gerwyn Price, that meeting in Graz, but Simon Whitlock will have plenty to say about that. He met Gerwyn Price in the final in Riesa, of course. Chris Dobey also will have plenty to say about that as well. He is the outsider in that one.
130.
As Jonny Clayton threatened to extend this 4-1 lead to 5.
That was an enormous chance for 5-1, and he might still get another shot. Well, he's got to make his mind up now. Dobey did this earlier. He didn't know where to go for 76. He decided on 2 double 19s, and he didn't execute with authority. So 74 goes for the treble 14 and gets it for double 16.
65.
Well, having made up his mind and having nailed that treble 14, I really expected him to finish things off. Jonny Clayton does finish things off, and Jonny Clayton is seemingly in the blink of an eye running away with this one now.
Yeah, don't leave Jonny Clayton on double 1 or double 5. He's actually said that double 1's his favourite double. Well, double 5 is the mirror image of it, so he's bound to be good at that one.
57.
I mean, just going back to Whitlock's options there on 74, he's renowned, I suppose, for doing the unorthodox. I mean, when you think about him when he's on 68, for example, he tends to go for things like treble 14, double 13. Not many people do that. What else would have been crossing through his mind there, do you think?
Double 17 for tops, without a doubt. But because Jonny was on double 5, there's no guarantee he's going to hit that really tricky double. So he's thinking, do I go for the treble 14 and bank points? He was scared of missing on the outside and then giving himself a potentially bigger out. So I think he did the right thing.
Yeah, he was guaranteed points by hitting or aiming for the treble 14 either way and playing his percentages, but it didn't work out for him.
140.
But you know what, I still wouldn't necessarily rule Whitlock out of this just yet.
No, he's had a few comebacks in his career. He had a belter against Jamie Caven at the European Championship a few years ago, where he was basically starting the taxi, and then there was a fly on the board, and instead of going for the target that he wanted, he decided to try and hit the fly, and he said it took his mind off the pressure. Then after that, he won all the legs. He only gave Jamie Caven 1 match dart in that whole contest. It was astonishing.
Don't be shy.
Clayton is 104 points away from the semi-finals, and based on current form before this weekend started, there's not a lot of people would have fancied that, but JC is back.
Isn't he just? Double 16 for the match.
88. Simon Uruguay 72.
Remains on ice for Jonny Clayton. I don't think he'll be celebrating anything just yet anyway, because he's still got plenty of hard work to do if he does come through this match against Simon Whitlock.
Ooh, fancy. Tops. Went for 2 double 18s. Just trying to go for an exhibition shot and maybe just calm himself down a little bit. It has backfired and Jonny Clayton's got there.
Hasn't he just? Jonny Clayton this year hadn't made a quarter-final on the European Tour. Not only that, he's made a semi-final here this weekend in Copenhagen. It's been disappointments after disappointments in Europe for the Ferret, but a former champion in Europe in Graz last year is on track for Euro Tour title number 2, and he's done it by seeing off last year's finalist Simon Whitlock.